Writers and tech leaders often operate in separate worlds, one guided by imagination, the other by data and innovation. But creativity thrives at their intersection, and the future belongs to those who can bridge storytelling and technology. Welcome to the PhD with Women on IT Hack the Future. My name is Jamil Livarosa, and topic today's PhD Positivity Hack delivered will be by our guest, Samia Arfaoui. Our today's topic is Visionary Writers, Revolutionary Tech, Rethinking Creativity and the Future. Episode 204 starts here. Let me remind you this is a grassroots community that focuses on women in IT, an inclusive forum of women in technology, startups, and female leaders who are supported by men as well and who I bring heart to that hustle because empathy is my mojo and empathy is critical in your thinking, creativity, and the future. Before we start our discussion, I want to take a moment to shine a spotlight on some incredible achievements from our community. Huge congratulations to our former Positivity Hack delivered guest, Mais Taha, on receiving dual international recognition in Europe for her workplace culture platform Supra, XUKRA, a significant milestone for Middle Eastern-led innovation on the global stage. Supra was named Best Industry Initiative at the Euro FM Awards 2025 in Trondheim, Norway. Also received a certificate of recognition at the 10th Greening the Islands Awards in Gosum, Malta. We are incredibly proud to see Mai's vision shaping the future of the work and gaining well-deserved global recognition. Join us in celebrating the inspiring achievement. Congratulations also to our another former Positivity Hack delivered guest, Elizabeth Nomovsky. Elizabeth has officially earned the CDI designation after completing Michelle Ashby's outstanding corporate director certification program and passing the board's certification exam. This achievement recognizes her as a certified board candidate, further highlighting her dedication to exemplary governance, strategic leadership, and board readiness. We're inspired by Elizabeth's commitment to financial literacy, female empowerment, and purpose driven leadership. Her accomplishment is a shining example for all women aspiring to make an impact at the board level. Here's to more women leading with vision, integrity, and purpose. Now let's go back to our topic. Visionary writers, revolutionary tech, rethinking creativity and the future. Join us for a positivity hack delivered with Samia Arfaoui, Managing Director of Targa Telematics France, a European leader in IoT and connected mobility, and novelist writing under the pen name Sam Khoury. Samia lives at the crossroads of literature and technology, exploring how visionary writes anticipated innovations long before they arrived and how today's tech in reshaping the stories well told. In this episode, she'll share her journey as a woman navigating the male-dominated tech industry, how her literary background shaped her approach to innovation and leadership, and why storytelling is a practical tool for envisioning and creating the future. You'll also discover how structure fuels creativity, how technology transforms narrative, and how stories, ancient and modern, can inspire real-world change. Curious about how literature predicts innovation or how your own storytelling can unlock creativity and leadership potential? This conversation is for you. Please join me giving a warm welcome to Samia.
Hi,
Hi, thank you so much for joining us, Samia. And to start, where in the world are you today?
thank you for the invitation, first of all, Jamil. And today I'm very lucky because I'm in Treviso in Italy. And that's particularly interesting because Treviso, it's where the tiramisu was born. And
Wow.
where Targa Telematics was born. So it's important for at least two reasons. And usually I live in Paris, beautiful
So,
city.
for our first questions, we often think of tech as looking strictly forward, but so much of our modern world was actually dreamed up centuries ago by writers who saw the future coming. Is there a specific story or novel you've read that felt like a spoiler for a technology we use today?
Yes, many, many examples. I think that perhaps the most obvious or the clearest one is Jules Verne. So sorry for my French accent. With, for instance, From the Earth to the Moon or 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, where Jules Verne describes submarines and space travel almost 100 years before. Perhaps a less known example is E.M. Forster. It's a British writer. In 1909, he wrote a very short story called "The Machine Stops," and he was speaking about people communicating through screens and believing a central machine for everything. So if it rings a bell, so that's very interesting because I think that literature it's the oldest deep tech we have in the way we anticipate the future, and but they are not prophets. I think that they just observe very carefully the present, and they push ideas to their limits and to their consequences. So it's not magical when we anticipate the future.
As we move from solitary creation to a world where we share the pen with algorithms, the very nature of authorship is starting to shift. In your view, how does the experience of co-authoring with an AI change the actual soul of the story being told?
That's a good one. Let's start with the idea of the soul itself. Because I'm not sure that it's necessary to have a soul for every type of text. For instance, if you are looking for a very practical or technical information, you don't need to feel the soul of a story. Then, of course, we have a text, and the text sits between a writer and a reader. As a writer, you need to transmit an emotion, you need to inhibit the story for a novel or a fiction. We used to say that in business. If you want to convince, you need to be convinced yourself. So that's the same process. So if I want to transmit an emotion, I need to feel it, okay? But once the story is written, it doesn't belong anymore to the writer. It belongs to the reader. And depending on the reader, let's call it the emotional volume. And the emotional volume depends on the writer, on his expectation, on his culture sometimes also. So it's going to set this volume. And coming back to co-authoring, co-writing, I think it can work very well as long as the human decides what matters. That's I think truly important. I hope it answers to your question, Jamil.
Yes, thank you
Yeah,
so much. That's amazing.
perfect.
Yes. There is a delicate balance to strike between using these powerful digital tools and maintaining the heartbeat of the creator. How can we bridge that gap to use AI more effectively in storytelling without losing the human intent?
Um, let's say that it could be something like, okay, as a human, I'm going to decide the what and the why, and I can be assisted by the machine for the how to improve, for instance, a text. But it's also a question of timing. I'm sure that we all experience this situation where, after working with ChatGPT, for instance, after a few minutes, you don't even know how to think by yourself. It's like you lost your brain. And in this kind of situation, I think it's because we use the tool too early in the process. So I would say that it's interesting to clarify the intent and then use the tool. So not skipping the steps. And once again, I mean, it depends of the goal of the writer. Uh, if you write, it's because you like writing. So if you are a writer and you just want to do business or to do volume, it doesn't matter if you don't experience the creation. So yeah, I would say that.
Despite the massive processing power of the modern AI, there are certain depths of the human experience that seem to resist being turned into data. What is the one thing about the human spark of writing, that messy, emotional, lived in experience, that you believe technology will never be able to truly replicate, no matter how many tokens it processes?
Yeah. Um, my answer will be very simple, and very obvious, because by default, by definition, a machine is not a human. So what a machine can't experiment, I'm coming back to the process of creation. So the experience of creation, meaning living with characters for months, sometimes living with doubts, living with a story, and the tool doesn't leave a doubt. So even if in few years we are able to replicate the outcome, we won't be able to do this. And in addition, I think it's more an aesthetic issue rather than an emotional issue, because the risk at the end of the day is to have exactly the same kind of text, the same kind of voice. And you can sense it sometimes on social medias, networks. For instance, LinkedIn, sometimes you have the same kind of text, the same kind of ticks. So, yeah. So, yeah, we are human, just human being.
Yes, we are just human. And you sit at a fascinating intersection where the logic of IoT frameworks meets the flow of a novel, which makes me wonder if these two worlds are more alike than they seem. How did your experience building technical frameworks influence the way you outline a story? And do you think unstructured creativity is actually a myth?
Speaking about structure, most of the time, structure is associated to rigidity, and creativity is associated with lack of structure, which I don't believe it, of course, because even if creativity is about imagination, intuition, even sometimes chaos, sometimes you need to start in the chaos in order to create. But at some point, if you don't organize, if you don't shape the text, you don't. So if you don't have a structure, at the end of the day, you won't have an outcome. So I think that chaos could be a beginning, but not the destination. So structure is acting like a container for creativity. It's not a jail, and it's not rigidity for me.
In programming, we strive for efficiency and clarity. It's interesting to think about how those same engineering principles might apply to a manuscript. What does clean code looks like in the context of a narrative structure, and how can a writer refactor a story that isn't working?
Speaking about the clear code and refactoring, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's a nice link between both words. I think that writing is continuous refactoring. Most of writer write their text and rewrite dozen times, if it's not more. it's very difficult to stop once you are in the process because you always find something to improve. So we could say that it's the same kind of refactoring. So you cut scenes, you change things, and to make it readable. And I think that's the clear code part. So you need clarity, and you need to clarify intention to be readable, to be understandable, like we do in tech. Yeah.
Every developer knows the frustration of a bug, but writers face a similar wall when the narrative just won't compile. Is there a creative debugging process you use when a project feels stuck? And can you walk us through how you apply textile problem solving to something as abstract as a writer's block?
Yeah. Uh, when a project is stuck or when I'm blocked while I'm writing, I don't wait for inspiration. I don't believe in magic. magic. So I debug. So what does it mean? It means that I step back and try to see what's unclear, and then I isolate element by element, trying to find clarity. And most of the time, it's not a question of lack of ideas; it's more a question of confusion. So once you have the clarity, you bring the movement back, and you can potentially solve the blocking points.
In the tech industry, we focus so much on the how and the specs, but we often forget that human connect with why first. Is it that the best engineered product in the world can still fail if it doesn't have a compelling story behind it? And can you give us an example of a product that won specifically because of its narrative?
One, just one.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's true that sometimes it could be very well engineered and even very clever, and it doesn't work. And I think that it doesn't work because people don't relate to it. They don't enter the story. Let's take an example. The more current one, the very, of course, very big success is ChatGPT. Why ChatGPT is very interesting case of storytelling. Without promotion, without explicit storytelling, uh, it's because it's not a tool we operate, it's a conversation we enter in. So you don't use it, you talk to it, you talk with it. So once it's a conversation, it's less intimidating, if I can say, to use the technology. So yeah, so that's a question of storytelling. That will be my final word for your question, Jamil.
That's amazing. And for our audience, if this discussion is brightening your day, I'd love it if you could like or share the stream to spread the word. And of course, the comment section is always open for your questions. I can't wait to see what you're thinking. And so, Samia, being a visionary leader often means asking people to believe in a world that isn't visible in spreadsheets yet. How can a leader use narrative to get a team to buy into a future that doesn't exist yet, especially when the data hasn't caught up to the vision?
Yeah, let's bring the storytelling again on the table. I think that storytelling is a very, very strong leadership tool. I like the example of the Odyssey of Ulysses, Homer. I guess that you all know. So that's a very, very old example, a very ancient example that I'm taking right now, where Ulysses survived not because he was strong, not only because he was strong, but because he knows how to speak to people, to understand people, and to adapt to situation. So it means that thanks to the narrative, is able to go from an obstacle to another. And once again, we are speaking about trying to find a story where people can step in. So I guess that as a leader and leader needs to, even in time of uncertainty, share a story where people can relate to. So yeah, I think that would be the most important, the narrative.
Speaking of leaders, as a woman navigating the male-dominated intersection of IoT and leadership, you've written your own success story. What advice would you give to females to help their career or start an entrepreneurial journey? And what are the top three soft skills all career-driven females should have in their toolkit?
Yeah, let's start with the advice. I think that I will give exactly the same advice to a man or a woman, because at the end of the day, we are all human being. Um, so yeah, okay. The advice will be the soft skills. So for me, the most important is to find the why. Okay, the drive, why we are waking up every day, and it's connected for me to passion. And to passion means being enthusiastic about what you are doing. Passion and resilience, determination. Yeah, that's the most important. So never giving up and knowing why you do that. And normally, if you know why you are doing things, you will never give up. It's connected.
And at the end of the day, tech is meant to serve people, and your background in letters suggests a more empathetic way to design our digital future. How can literary thinking make technology feel more human and less transactional?
Hmm. Uh, I'm sorry, but we will come back to the stories.
Yes.
But I think that, for instance, even an engineer uh, doesn't create a tool without thinking about the storytelling, because storytelling is not about marketing, not only about marketing. So the idea is to see that behind the user there is a human, and this human has needs, issues, a lot of pain points. So if you think about your product, service designed for a human, it changed everything. So I think that yeah, literature could bring meaning and perspective to tech.
And your life seems to be a constant stream of innovation in prose. Are you working on any exciting new projects right now, either at Targa Telematics or in your literary world?
Yeah, within Targa Telematics, we are always doing exciting projects. So that's why I love my company so much. I'm not saying that because perhaps sometime I guess that someone from Targa is going to listen to me. I really believe it. Joke apart, yes, I'm working on a very nice project, or very funny project, let's say. It will be a booklet. I don't know, perhaps a booklet, perhaps short stories. I don't know yet. And I can reveal the title. And the title is My Therapist is ChatGPT. Because I noticed that many people use the tool to ask a lot of personal questions, of course, professional questions, and it appears at one point that ChatGPT is the best therapist ever. So that's my new project, the project I'm working on.
And as we know, you released a new booklet called uh, what do you call it?
Before the code, there is a story.
Yes. Can
Yeah.
you tell us or anything about your new booklet just that is
Yeah.
just released?
That's a very small booklet, an ebook actually, and it's connected to the discussion we are having today, Jamil. It's about the link and the bridge between literature and technology. So I try not to deep dive because we don't deep dive in a booklet, but I try to share some thoughts about the connection between these two words that we can, we may think that they are different, and actually they are sharing a lot of common, common skills. So the name is before the code, there is a story. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yes, that's amazing. So, as we are going to our end of our show, let me ask you the questions that we always ask our guests. What is the number one book you can sit and think, oh, I wish I read before I started my careers?
Hmm. Can I choose two books?
Sure.
Thank you, Jimmy. I know that you will be generous with me.
Yeah, we love
Okay.
books.
Okay, I will share five books. No, okay. No, just two. To honestly, let's the so-called personal development books help me more than business and marketing books, even if, of course, they are very good as well. Because before managing people, I had to manage myself. So the first one, very impactful for me, was Unlimited Power from Anthony Robbins, where I learned how to manage limited belief and energy, and also instead of overthinking, acting. So being in the action. So yeah, that is a very good book, and it helped me a lot. And I would say that the second one is The Power of Now of Eckhart Tolle. More for his wisdom, the wisdom of Eckhart Tolle, and very interesting idea. It's we spend our time looking at the past or anticipating the future, where there is only one moment which exists. It's the present, and past and the future are just mental abstraction. Yeah, it helped me to like an anchor. You know, sometimes you need to be just in the present.
Mhm. And let's imagine that you could meet anyone in the world for a private breakfast. Who would it be and where would you choose to meet?
Not a writer, surprisingly, not a tech guy. I will choose Sylvester Stallone. I don't know how we say that in English. Sylvester Stallone. And of course, it will be on the, the steps in Philadelphia, the Rocky steps in Philadelphia. Yeah. Um, because this movie and this guy, this actor, I think it taught me the concept of resilience before I could even name it. I didn't know even the word, and also that sometimes the most important is not to win, but at least to try. So it matters as much as winning. You know, the intention and the intensity. And there is also another personal reason why I will choose Sly, is that my brother had shown same kind of resilience, and he even resembled him. So it will be an opportunity to see my brother as well. So for this reason, I will go for Stallone. So if you have his number, please contact him from me.
Yes, yes. And
Yes, you have the number.
we will try.
Okay, thank you. Let me know.
And for last question, can you please give us your favorite life lesson quote?
Yeah, it's connected with everything I told you before and during the session. It's okay. I will paraphrase it, but you have people who are here to find excuses, and you have other who find the ways. So, and the difference between both is huge. So yeah, that would be an advice also that I will give to any female or male.
Mhm. And
Find
so,
ways.
yes, find ways. And so before we wrap up, I love to give our audience something tangible they can do to start bridging the gap between their analytical and creative minds. What is one creative exercise the future creator should try tonight to start merging these two worlds?
Hmm. Um, that's one that I did lately. I will call him remove technology. So if you have an issue or if you have an idea, specific to tech, of course, let's describe the situation without tool, without speaking about artificial intelligence or speaking about product, just the human situation. Describe it, and if at the end you read it yourself, okay? If at the end the story still holds, the tech will follow. Otherwise, no amount of tech will save the story. And then it could be interesting to share the text with ChatGPT or another tool, not as an author, but as an editor to give you a final advice. Yeah, that's a very simple exercise.
And that's it from our 204 of the PhD live stream. Thanks to our guest, Samia Arfaoui. And don't forget to check her book, Before the Code. There's a story link in the comments section below. To stay updated and to ensure you never miss a positivity hack delivered, follow Women on IT and turn on notifications to be alerted once a video has been released. Next week, our topic is building trust in a triggered world, science behind safer online platforms with Dr. Eva Ansa. So,
Great.
yes, so stay updated and thank you for our fabulous team, Desiree, Kim, and Natalie. And as always, our positivity quote comes from positive thinking only and goes look something positive in each day. Even if some days you have to look a little harder. Today is your day. Hack the future, hack the positivity you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamil. Bye.
Thank
Ciao.